Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. Tonight, I'm going to be going over my tight ends opportunity report. We're going to look at the 2020 data as we see how many targets and rushing attempts. They do get rushing attempts every now and then, but we care about targets and we care about opportunity share for our tight ends. So if you're new to the fellowship, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's a great way of helping us out. And then check out the 2021 draft kit. If you do purchase the 2021 draft kit, you'll get access to the projections, all my rankings and my cheat sheets. I'm going to be uploading the cheat sheets. I update them every Friday going forward the rest of the summer. But a lot of cool stuff to look at on the fantasyfellowship.com. And we're going to click into this opportunity report here, and we can kind of filter by position. We're going to look at the tight end. So if you are interested in this opportunity report, I'm going to first off tell you what opportunity share is. And it says here, opportunity share is the number of rushing attempts and targets a player gets divided by the total number of a team's offensive plays, resulting in a percentage of opportunity. And the main point of this is fantasy football, you want players that are going to get the ball. And this opportunity share basically just paints a picture. I'll kind of show you here. So this is 2020, the top 12 tight ends and opportunity share. It's filtered here by this percentage. So last year, the Raiders tried to get Darren Waller the ball 14.38% of the time, which led the NFL as far as tight ends go. So this is a very important stat. Again, it's filtered by opportunity share. You can see all the targets. Evan Ingram, Logan Thomas, TJ Hawkinson had some rushing attempts, so that boosted their numbers just a little bit. But we got two tight ends that are just a head and shoulders above the rest here, both over 14% opportunity share. Evan Ingram down here at 12.55, and then it continues to kind of just drop off pretty quickly. You can even see Darren Waller and Kelsey over 14%, and you got Rob Gronkowski down here at about 7.81. So you want a tight end that gets opportunity, and you can kind of see here in the PPR column, Darren Waller, 145 opportunities. He finished number 2 in PPR leagues. Travis Kelsey, a really high opportunity share. He was the number 1 tight end. Evan Ingram's kind of an outlier, very ineffective with his amount of opportunities, 109 targets, and to not finish as a tight end 1, very concerning. He did finish as tight end number 14, but you see Logan Thomas, he was 4th in this study. He was tight end number 3, TJ Hawkinson, tight end number 5. So 4 of the top 5 tight ends in opportunity share were top 5 tight ends. So that's a really good hit rate. And again, Evan Ingram just kind of had a really weird season. Let me just pull up his numbers from last year. Not the best season for the New York Giants, but Evan Ingram with his 109 targets, you see 63 catches, 654 yards, but only 1 touchdown. That's not going to get it done. So if he got some more touchdowns last year, he would have probably finished as a tight end 1, but it just wasn't there. Very ineffective with his targets. So we're kind of just continuing through this list here. Noah Fant down here at 93 targets, 93 total opportunities for 9.32%, finished 11th. So like we're seeing a lot of guys here in the top 12 of opportunity share. Only Evan Ingram and Eric Ebron finished outside of the top 12 for PPR finishes. So that's, again, 10 out of 12 in opportunity share. We're tight end 1. So that's a pretty good hit rate, where if you do purchase the 2021 draft kit, you can see I do have opportunity share numbers projected here. We'll get to those in just a second. We'll talk about the 2021 projections that I have here. But this, I'm just trying to show you guys, this stat is very important for tight ends. I did review the wide receivers and the running backs already. You guys can check those videos out on my YouTube page. But for running back and tight end, this opportunity share number is kind of a golden rule, where the higher opportunity share, the better the tight end is going to be for fantasy. For wide receivers, we did find some good stats that correlate to a strong PPR finish, but I got another stat here that will kind of start rolling out, and I think that's going to be my yard share and my target share. So you can find these kind of analytics in the 2021 projections document. Again, that's $15 for the draft kit, and it's just a one-time thing. So go ahead and check that out. But with my projections, I guess before we get to that, let me kind of continue the opportunity report. So you're seeing Mark Andrews here, Eric Ebron, Mike Gesicki, Hunter Henry, Hayden Hurst, Rob Gronkowski. If you notice, all these guys were about 80 targets and above. Rob Gronkowski was kind of an outlier, 77 targets, but he had a lot of touchdowns. And if you guys do notice, the number 4 tight end overall is not on this list, and that is, he's down here in the tight ends 13 through 24. Look how low Robert Tonyan is. He was tight end number 4 last year, only 59 targets, but he caught 52 of his passes thrown his way. So he was a double-digit touchdown guy, and he didn't need a lot of opportunity. So there's going to be those outliers every season. The other outlier, I guess, will be Dalton Schultz. He was a top 10 in PPR, but he got pummeled with short targets, not a really good yard after catch guy. So he did finish as a PPR top 10, which we should be excited for Blake Jarwin, guys. If Blake Jarwin gets this opportunity, he can do a lot more with that opportunity, and it yielded a top 10 tight end. So very interested in that. But just kind of looking at these targets again, all of these targets above 60 and up, and you kind of see only one other tight end had 83 targets, and he still was a top 10 tight end. So if you get a tight end that's getting over 80 targets, you're probably getting a top 10, top 12 tight end. And then look at this. If you get a tight end over 100 total targets or opportunities, it's probably a top 5 tight end. So with that, go ahead and check it out. I do, in the article, I do call out like, okay, target elite tight end ones with a 10+% opportunity share. You see the top 5 guys here. Again, 4 of the top 5 were all PPR top 5 tight ends. We're going to say target elite tight ends with 100 projected targets and rushing attempts. That's the same group, the top 5 group that we see there. And then I say target solid tight end ones with 80 plus targets or roughly 8% in opportunity share. So you see everybody on this top list is over 8%. Rob Gronkowski really close. But the targets, you want to get a guy that's over 80 targets or he has a massive opportunity share of 8% or greater. And then down here, you can kind of see that the results get mixed and they get really a huge range of outcomes as you get down in that list. So that 8% is kind of a good cutoff to say, hey, maybe this tight end might be worth it. And then I just kind of do a recap here of the main points when looking at a tight end. So let's take a look at the 2021 projections here. We'll kind of, is this too big here? Let me kind of just zoom it down once. So I have it filtered here by PPR. That's just the main scoring format that I play in. And now we're going to go ahead here and filter by opportunity share. And we'll kind of tell you guys who we kind of got a tier break here. The top 4 tight ends that I'm seeing right now. You have Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, George Kittle, and TJ Hockenson. I don't think that's a surprise to most people. I think there is a lot of argument as to who the tight end number 4 might be. But the top 3 is no question. It's Kelce, Waller, Kittle. You can argue Waller over Kittle for number 2. But for me, I fully like Darren Waller. He's almost a full % higher in opportunity share than George Kittle. You think about the Raiders' targets. You got a lot of young receivers. They did add John Brown, but Waller's going to lead that team in targets. With George Kittle, I'm a big George Kittle fan, but that team doesn't like to throw the ball all that much, especially if it is Trey Lance. You might see more rushing attempts. They have a really good running game, really good defense over there, and they have Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, and just such a good running game where I kind of value Darren Waller getting more targets. As it stands right now, Travis Kelce projected 141 targets, Darren Waller 136, George Kittle 128, and then there's a big drop off, and then I got 3 other guys with over 100 targets. And I'll kind of just let's just kind of group these 2 other tight ends here. I think these are going to be my favorite tight ends to target in drafts this year. That's Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, George Kittle, TJ Hockenson, Kyle Pitts, and Logan Thomas. Now, I did have another cool thing here. If you do get the 2021 projections document, I do have a tab back here that says ADP. And you can kind of filter it by Underdog, CBS, ESPN, FFPC, or BB10s, but it does give you an average here of where everyone is being drafted. So Kelce so far, he's in the first round, middle of the first round, as high as he goes. Darren Waller sitting in the second round, same as George Kittle. They're basically the middle to the end of the second round, and then there's a little bit of a wait, and then you get Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews next to each other. Now, in a PPR league, I'm not a big Mark Andrews fan. He looks way better in a half PPR or a standard league. Standard league is where I really like Mark Andrews because he's going to get touchdowns. I'm just a little bit nervous about the passing volume. Mark Andrews isn't going to pop up too high on our opportunity report. If we look here, Andrews was solid in the opportunity report with 88 targets. But if you remember last year, it took a little while for Andrews to get consistent in rolling. Nick Boyle was hurt for the remainder of the season halfway through. And that's when Andrews kind of dominated and started getting back to his normal self. But for me, I like Kyle Pitts at the end of the 4th round. Mark Andrews, I'll probably wait. I'd rather have TJ Hockenson, and he's going almost a full round after Mark Andrews. So that 5th round for TJ Hockenson for me, that's probably my favorite value. If you want Kyle Pitts, you have to take him at the end of the 4th round. He's probably not going to last to the 5th round. It really depends on who you're playing with. But to me, those are the kind of the clear, 5, 6 tight ends. A lot of people are kind of fading Logan Thomas here, who was I think he was my 5th or 6th tight end in the rankings. He's going in the 8th round. So for me, Logan Thomas, TJ Hawkinson have been my 2 favorite targets at the tight end position. And then we'll get back over here to my projections. After that, we're just kind of going solely off of this opportunity share number here. And we're looking at these tight ends. So we talked about the top 6. The rest are Noah Fant, Mark Andrews, Dallas Goedert, Mike Gesicki, Eric Ebron, and Evan Ingram. Now, there's a couple outliers with these guys. I guess we'll talk about their targets. I did mention that any tight end projected over 100 targets, I'm a big fan of, and that's the top 6 that you see on the list here. Coming really close, Noah Fant with 96, Dallas Goedert with 95. If Zach Ertz is traded or moved or cut, released, whatever, I'm probably going to bump Dallas Goedert up right now. So he's sitting right now as kind of my tight end 8, I think 8th or 9th, and he's representing a good value. If we look and see where Goddard's being drafted, he's being drafted right after Hawkinson in the 6th round. So if you miss on Hawkinson, I don't mind grabbing Goddard if you can, or otherwise it's waiting for Logan Thomas. So those kind of my top 3 tight ends that I've been targeting so far. With Mark Andrews, I'm a little bit nervous about the ups and downs and the consistency there. He makes more sense in a standard league. For me, with Noah Fant, he had a really good season last year, but he didn't finish all that great. He was tight end number 11, and that's with no Courtland Sutton last year. So I'm thinking that his 93 targets, that's kind of it's going to be kind of where he's at. I don't see him getting more work than what he did last year, adding Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy another year, Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock. We'll see who's the quarterback there. Maybe they trade for one too, but we'll see with that. So I do like Noah Fant, but I view him more as a lower, mid to low end tight end 1. Mike Gesicki, kind of the same thing. He's going to have a lot more competition for targets. You got Jalen Waddle kind of being in the middle of the field now. They get Will Fuller. You got Devontae Parker coming back now. So Gesicki kind of takes a step back for me. Eric Ebron, he's a decent tight end 1 option here. I do like the target opportunity and the touchdown opportunity there. Evan Ingram comes in at my number 12 in opportunity report, and I do like that. I guess we're looking again, we kind of had a thing here where any tight end over 8% is probably a good candidate for a tight end 1. So those are the top, 10 guys that I feel really good about being tight end 1s this season. And then after that, you do have a couple guys here that I'm interested in. And let's just kind of pull these names up. Eric Ebron, Evan Ingram, Blake Jarwin, and Jonnu Smith. Now, I'm going to talk about Blake Jarwin for a little bit because he was one of my favorite tight ends to draft late last year as my tight end 2 or even my 3rd tight end on my depth chart. But Blake Jarwin, looking at what Dalton Schultz did last year in his wake, 7.76% share, 83 opportunities. So he had 83 targets. As it goes right now, I'm projecting Blake Jarwin for 81 targets. So I'm kind of low on Blake Jarwin at the moment right now. And if I filtered by my PPR rankings, he does come out to my tight end number 10. It means I'd rather have Blake Jarwin over a guy like Noah Fant, Mike Gesicki, Tyler Higbee. I think that offense is going to be more fruitful with the passing game. So if you wanted my honest opinion on how to go about tight ends, I'm not going to tell anyone not to take Kelsey, Waller, or Kittle. Do what you got to do. If you like getting the tight end and locking in top 3 production, go for it. But for me, I tend to wait. I like TJ Hawkinson this year as a top 5 lock. I love Kyle Pitts. Those will be my 2 opportunities in the 4th, 5th round. If you can get Hawkinson in the 6th, grand slam, home run, top 5 tight end. Otherwise, I like Logan Thomas, Dallas Goedert in that 7th, 8th round range here. And then I'm always getting Blake Jarwin as my tight end 2. We'll see about Robert Tonyan. Really, with Tonyan, it really depends on Aaron Rodgers being there. It's kind of hard to take him right now. If you do get Tonyan, make sure you have a good backup plan. But other tight ends that did kind of pop out to me, Tyler Higbee, the guy that doesn't have to worry about Gerald Everett competing. They do have a rookie tight end that's been kind of going off, so we'll have to talk about him later. But let me just kind of filter one more time here by targets. These are all the tight ends that I have projected over 80 targets. So this is my target list. I could add a couple other guys in the list here too. Maybe we'll just kind of stop it at who's going to be a tight end 1. We'll kind of do it here. So I have about 16 tight ends I feel really good about. You guys know the top ones here, but to kind of finish the list, Tyler Higbee, Anthony Firkser, Evan Ingram, and Jonnu Smith. I'm kind of torn on Jonnu Smith versus Hunter Henry. I think both guys look best as your tight end 2. If you can, if you're going to get Jonnu Smith, make sure you get a Tyler Higbee and Anthony Firkser and Evan Ingram, someone to back him up. and kind of go with the tandem here. But so far, it's looking pretty good. I'm kind of low on Irv Smith. I can talk about that in detail later if you guys would like me to. But I have him having a better season, but I just don't know if I see him being forced into a bigger role. Even if Kyle Rudolph's gone, they're just going to pull up Tyler Conklin. So again, these are kind of working numbers and projections here, but I think I laid out a good list here of top 10, top 12 tight ends for you guys. So that's going to do it for this video. Check out the 2021 draft kit. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you are new. And thank you guys so much. We'll see you in another video.